Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. It's an engaging and enlightening talk show on life, relationships, and the business of life. Grab a cup of juice and just chill. Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen. Live life. Live fully.
Good to have you on the show. Once again, this is Omobola Stephen, the host of Life Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, a personal development and self-improvement podcast featuring expert and professionals who are adepts in the topics of personal development and self-improvement. Now, our mission and focus is to shine more light on what is truly innate inside of us and how we can bring it to the fore, harnessing and maximizing it, and the importance of embracing personal development and self-improvement. Because when we come to embrace personal development and self-improvement in the course of our life, we get to find ourselves on the path. And when finding ourselves, we realize that there's so much that we can become in life, so much endless possibilities that lies within us that we can become and we can also achieve in life. This is the mission and the focus of Lawel Liba Omobola Stephen. We offer disruptive mindship conversations, yet constructive in nature, pivoting the change and transformation that you and I need in the side of eternity, finding fulfillment at the end of the day. Today, I have Dr. Chaz Austin, who is a leadership coach and also someone who trains workers how to build and market their personal brand. Welcome to the show, Dr. Chaz Austin.
Good to see you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for joining me on the show, Doctor. Great to have you on the show. And I've been looking forward to this discussion. We will be talking about the gig economy, which is such a great and interesting topic, especially in this 21st century and an era of technology and internet that we are in presently. So looking forward to a great time indeed. So the first question my audience will like you to answer for them is, what is it about the gig economy that you think they need to learn about?
Well, I think the first step, Omobola, to answer the question is to understand what the gig economy is. So let me start with that, if I may. The old corporate model of working for a company for many years is kind of dying. The gig economy, and the term comes from the jazz world of the 30s and 40s. That's what's replacing the traditional, I work for a company, I have a full-time job, I'm there for many years, and I retire. Gigs are short-term projects. Yes, they can last a day, a week, a month, 6 years, whatever. But you're never an employee of a company. They are a client of yours. So you take your skill set and you offer it to people and they say, yes, I can use you for this project for 2 weeks, for 3 weeks, for whatever. So people have to understand that transition and the fact that that's what we need to prepare people to be a part of. So that's the first step, is understanding that what the gig economy is. It's very confronting for people because they've done all the right things their whole life. They went to school, they got a degree, they have a good resume, they know how to interview, they're loyal to their employers, and that loyalty is not returned. So suddenly it's like, I'm an entrepreneur, I have my own brand, I have to market myself. Oh my, not what I was prepared to do. I shouldn't have to. There's a lot of that kind of conversation. Well, this is what you have to do. We learned how to use smartphones. You can learn how to market yourself. So the steps are that first, you understand that you're in the gig economy. Then you have to define the brand, which is what I work with people to do. And people don't even realize they are a brand. What's your brand? How do you articulate it? And then how do you communicate and sell that to the people in your industry so that instead of looking for a job, and they're going away because companies don't want to pay insurance, they don't want to pay health insurance, they don't want to pay benefits. So they'll hire you for If they do hire you, it might be part-time. It won't be 40 hours a week, which would qualify you for benefits. It'll be a little less than that. So you have to understand what shifted. So again, what's the brand? How do you define it? And who do you sell it to in your field? So you're always looking for projects. You're always looking for work rather than a job.
Great. Thanks for sharing that with my audience. Now, do you really think that the gig economy, do you think is growing enough? And how is it changing the nature of work?
It's a different mindset and it's a different set of behaviors. It's a major paradigm shift. People were not prepared for this. So I will always have work as a coach because everyone is afraid. I did not plan this. I'm not prepared to do this. What do I do? I've worked with many people who were loyal to their companies for 10, 20, 30 years, and suddenly the company was merged or closed or moved to another state. And they say, I've never even written a resume before. I have no idea what to do. I'm just flipping out here. So they have to develop a new set of skills, which means being entrepreneurial, which means always marketing yourself, which means understanding what it is you offer and who will pay for it in your industry. So as part of that, you are always networking. So you're joining industry associations, you're volunteering, you're spending time at meetings, you're having lunches with people to develop relationships with people who can say to you, oh, we need that. We have a project coming up in a couple of weeks. It lasts 2 months. We'd like to talk to you about that. So it's developing and deepening relationships with people who will hire you to do work based on your specialty, based on your skill set, and based on what you can do for them. How can you make me money or save me money on this particular project? What do you know? How can I use it? And another part of that is you're always upskilling because the clients, rather than your boss, it's now clients, you're your own business, are going to say, well, there's a new program that came out, or we're working with AI. Do you know AI? Have you studied that? Can we count on you to be at the cutting edge of what we need in the vendors that we hire to do the work we need?
So really, I haven't come to terms with this. What do you think are the expectations of the folks who want to go to the gig jobs? What are the expectations? Because sometimes, as you just rightly said, and some of them they get job offers and they're pretty confused as to how to really market themselves or present themselves, brand and put their brand out. So, what are some of the expectations that they need to meet up?
Here's what I say to my clients and my students, because I both work with people one-on-one all over the world and teach courses on this that I've designed based on my books. Don't expect the job to last. That sort of permanence that your parents or grandparents had is gone. So you're always marketing yourself. And even if you take a job, you're going to want to do something else in a few years, either because you burned out or the industry changed or the company changed or they decided they don't need you anymore for reasons having nothing to do with your performance. Yes. So you don't expect it to last. This is not a marriage that your spouse is on your deathbed with you, holding your hand while you expire. Companies don't care. They're looking to save money in any way they can. If they can replace you with a robot, they will. Yes, if they can cut your hours in half, they will. If they can outsource your work to people in another country who earn a fraction of what you earn, they will do that. They're not necessarily bad people. They're looking at the bottom line. You are, as a worker, if you have a job, okay, you're eventually a liability. How can we do this cheaper? They're making so much money. They've been here for 5 years. They keep getting raises. This is how do we lessen the expense of this person? How do we get rid of them? And you're out there as a worker, as an employee, just working as hard as you can and doing everything you can. And in the olden days, 20th century, people expected to get rewarded for that. No more. So you have to change your expectations. Companies don't care about you.
Right, and as you go ahead with this expectations, but I like to twist the question in some way, talking about the challenges for these workers in the gig economy. Now we talk about the challenges of income fluctuations. We also talk about the lack of employment benefits. So how can they be able to keep their heads above the water in this challenging time?
It's hard. I won't pretend it isn't. Okay, you're creating a new model, and the model I call the multiple income streams approach, which my clients have called the wheel. So picture a wagon wheel. The hub of the wheel is your brand. This is what you offer, and the spokes coming out of the wheel, and these are in my books. The spokes coming out of the wheel are the different ways you can earn revenue to support your brand. So you have multiple clients. The old model was basically one client, your boss at your company, and that's it. And you have a full-time job, and your job is to make them happy at all times. And if they look at you cross-eyed, you get worried you're going to lose your job and your only source of income. So this makes it a little safer for you, despite how hard it is to do this and to get into constantly marketing yourself. But you have multiple clients. So if one falls down or says we're done, you have other income streams. So you're always looking for new income streams. You're constantly marketing yourself and networking. Yes. So you have different ways to make money, all tied in with the brand. No side gigs. Yes. You don't have to work at Starbucks. Yes. These are all tied in with what you do and what you offer. So you're constantly marketing yourself. And eventually, once you build enough of a reputation, you can breathe a little easier because, well, I lost a client, but I have 6 more, so I'm okay. And I've got a new client coming on. That's how it works. And once you get used to it, it's like not my preference to do that. I would have just liked to have one job and one boss, but that's not an option anymore. So you want to start to embrace this multiple income streams approach and know that you'll never be on the unemployment line. You always have money coming in, and it's all related to what you offer.
Thank you, Dr. Chaz, for that explanation indeed and the insight you offered. We talk about policy making because this is also another big issue in terms of the new challenges for policymakers when it comes to the gig economy. Do you think this economy is a new challenge for policymakers indeed, especially in this era?
Oh, yes. It's like technology and social media. The market got ahead of the government's policies to rein it in. So government and policymakers have to play catch up. There's one of the downsides of being in the gig economy is where's the health insurance going to come from? My old company took care of me. I had health insurance. They paid for it. It was great, or they matched it. And now I'm on my own. So there's not a setup yet, yes, for health insurance for large groups of people in an industry that are not attached to one particular company. So there are groups working on this. It's just like with social media. The government's going, oh my God, it's completely out of control. We didn't see this coming. We could not have planned for it. So it's the job of the workers to unionize collectively and go to the government and say, we need some policies. That's what Obamacare was designed for. Yes, as imperfect as it is, but it is improving over time and it is giving people a safety net. Yes. So the changes happened before the policies were in place because, oh my goodness, I didn't see this coming. Good. We're going to let you know this is what's happening and this is what we need. to take care of people who are workers now, who are not attached to one company, who are entrepreneurial and essentially have their own businesses.
Doctor, despite the gig economy, it's really evolving, as we all know. But we still have folks who are out there who still want to keep their white-collar jobs. They still want to, because as you said earlier, they've got a resume, Andy, and they want to experience what it is like to be in a white-collar job. So how do they find a job and keep it, especially in this era? Talking about the gig economy and also how we can find a good job, a white collar job, and keeping it.
You're not. So I've had many clients say that that's what they want. They just want to keep their job. Yes? No. No. Don't expect it's going to last. You may get burned out. You may get bored. You may have a new boss who you hate and you have to leave the company. And you're a little old to find another job because you're too expensive to go to another company. So you're going to back into being an entrepreneur. I'm not entrepreneurial by choice. Yes, it's not something I ever considered, but I'm at this point in my life too old and too expensive to find a full-time job. And I don't want to deal with the politics of the company. And I don't want to have to kiss up to some individual who is not centered, does not understand how they operate, does not know how to treat people. And I'm dependent on this one person's goodwill and mood to keep my job. No, you're going to back into being an entrepreneur. So I became entrepreneurial because I had to. The joke I say is I'm addicted to eating. I had to do that in order to survive, not just survive, but to flourish in the workplace because I wanted to continue working. So don't expect you're going to keep the full-time job. Look around, do some research and see how many people who had great credentials and were loyal to their companies lost their job. And then we have the other part of it, which is they feel ashamed. I should have done something differently. I would have had my job. It's my fault. It's not your fault. It's not about you. It's market conditions. They really love you in their company, so they say, yes, but they found someone to do your job in another country for half the price. Bye. Thanks for your loyal service. Don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. Huh? You have to plan that is what's going to happen because it's happening over and over again. It's going to happen to you probably. And the other part of it is you may just get bored doing this kind of work. I've been doing this for years. I want to try something else. I want to try something new. I'm done with this company. There's been too many management shakeups, and I can't sleep at night because I don't know what's going to happen next, and I don't know how secure my job is. So you start looking around.
Doctor, now, with just your explanation, are you advocating for us, right, those who just finished in university education, who are graduates? Are you advocating that they begin to develop or begin to build entrepreneurial skills, right, from the educational level, instead of having the mentality of getting a job right after my graduate experience? Then, well, preferably instead of having that kind of mentality, I begin to build a mentality of entrepreneurship. Is that what you're advocating?
Yes. And what's interesting is that younger people understand this intuitively. They're the ones who are working 2 and 3 jobs while they're going to school. And they're not inclined to work for one company. It's not in their DNA. They want to be more entrepreneurial. They don't necessarily want to work 3 jobs. That'll grind you down. But they want to do their thing because they've seen what companies do to people. And companies don't care. I mean, when I always tell my clients, when a company says you're part of the family, run away because my family doesn't lay you off. You're still valued and still kept as part of the family. And a company will get rid of you in a second if they can save some money, despite whatever you've done. So younger people understand this, much easier to work with them. I don't have to tell them that you need to be entrepreneurial. They already are. They're doing different things. They're making money in different ways. This is just part of how they operate in the workplace. It's the older people that are tough because they expect things to be the way they were back then for themselves, for their parents, for their grandparents, and that's gone. And they're very resistant to this new way of thinking and behaving because it's not the way it was supposed to be. Well, I'm sorry. You have to go with what's changing and what's happening in the future. And this is the future. We're there now. So the sooner one does this, they're in school, they're young, the easier it's going to be. This becomes who you are and how you operate in the workplace, and you start to get comfortable with it. This is what I do. This is how it's done. The way my parents did it with this full-time job, not interested.
Oh, really? So, in all of this, how can we begin to have a discussion on these? What are the policies the government needs to start making, or those who are in this institution? What kind of policies do you think the government needs to begin to set? Especially talking about this gig economy, and also how to incorporate the entrepreneurial mindset to our growing economy at this stage.
The answer is the same as it's always been for workers, which is to unionize, because that's where the power is. I mean, capitalism is skewed toward the employer. The employer has all the power. The only thing that's helped the worker is unionization. And employers, and somewhat aided by the government over the years, have suppressed the union movement, but that's coming back. So if you work in a particular industry as an entrepreneur, you want to start connecting with other people and starting to unionize. That has power. People will listen to you, whether it's the boss in a job or the government, and we need these new policies because those are voters, yes? So we can, our union, which has 50,000, 100,000, 500,000 members, it's a union of entrepreneurs who work in technology, let's say. Yes, they're all freelance people. They all work as part of the gig economy. So we have 500,000 votes. Oh, now as a politician, I'm paying attention. Yes, because I want your union to endorse me. Yes, this is why presidential candidates go after the UAW, United Auto Workers, because that's important, and that brings thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of voters into the booth saying, I'm voting for this person because my union endorsed it. That's how you do it. It's all about unionization, and unions are coming back because that's where you have power. You have no power as an individual if you're a worker, because they can just get rid of you in a second. And they're not going to pay attention to you if you're an entrepreneur who says, hey, we need health insurance. Well, you're one person. I don't have time for this. But if there are 500,000 of you saying we need health insurance, I'm now paying attention because I need the endorsement. I need the votes. I need the support.
It's been a great time indeed, Dr. Chaz, sharing your insight, especially to my audience, talking about the gig economy. Do you have any exciting news, any important information you think it's going to be beneficial, super beneficial to the audience? You'd like to share them?
New information. I have over 35,000 followers on LinkedIn. So I constantly post what's new in the working world on there. And I would suggest that's the way for people to find out what's new. That's an entry point. It's up to everyone that they research constantly about what's going on. Oh, it's a whole new world. I better learn about it. Just like AI, it's a whole new world. I better learn about it. Yes. So they can use my LinkedIn page as a starting point. But what that needs to expand to, I'm always researching what's happening in the working world and where my place is there and what I need to learn and who I need to know in order to be competitive and keep making a living. Even though I don't have a full-time job, I've got lots of work and lots of clients, and people know me, and I keep getting work. And I need to always be on top of that, which means I constantly need to research, not just online, but in person. So as you become part of an industry and you're being entrepreneurial, you're meeting with people, you're developing and deepening relationships with people who can guide you and mentor you. That's the best kind of research that you can do, is talking to people in your field to let you know this is how it works here and this is what you need to learn. And then your job is to let them mentor you and be coachable and do what they tell you. I need to learn this, I'm going to learn this. I need to learn that, I'm going to learn that, because that's what the clients are going to need. And my job is to be of service to them.
Brilliant. Thanks once again for sharing that with my audience, and also that parting word. And I must say, I wanted to ask you for that, but you've already done that. Thank you so much, Dr. Chaz. Since you said they can connect with you on your LinkedIn page, I think that's good enough. They can find all the resources they need to help them buy, especially to the working population and those who are looking forward to marketing their personal brand. Thank you once again, Dr. Chaz Austin, your leadership coach, and you've been training workers how to build and market their personal brand. Indeed, really at the worthwhile time. Sharing and having these brilliant conversations with you, especially about the gig economy, and how we can embrace this dynamic change in this era, indeed. I wish you best of luck in all the projects that you embark upon, Dr. Chaz, and now and also in the nearest future. Thank you once again. So if you'd like to catch up with any missed episodes of Live Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, we focus on personal development and self-improvement topics. You can catch up on any cross-promotion platforms or any podcast distribution platforms you bump into. Just search for Live Well Lived by Omobola Stephen, and then you go. Do have an amazing time as you listen to professionals, thought leaders, and share their expertise on any topics or subjects that is related to personal development and self-improvement. Until I come your way, I need you always to stay safe. I talk to you soon. This is Omobola Stephen. Bye for now.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Yep.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe and leave us a review.